Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Bison video blog with the most knowing FCS man in the world. I'm contractually obligated to say that now after I'm down 6 games at our FCS pick'em. Jeff Kolpack, I'm merely Dom Izzo.
Are you giving up?
There's a long way to go yet.
You're almost mathematically eliminated.
There's a long way to go in that, although I am upset that Wofford lost on the road at Georgia Southern. We'll get that into a second. Jeff, the Bison come to work on this Monday for the first time in 11 months. Awful loss, 17-14 to Indiana State. Had a couple days to digest it. This was, I guess, maybe the letdown we were talking about last week that happened on Saturday.
I was waiting for a letdown game, but after the first 5 games, which were so convincing and so methodical in their approach and almost a destruction, if you will, of the first 5 games of the season, at some point, the quarterback is just going to be a little off, and the defense may give up a big play or two. It's just the nature of football and the nature of athletics, and I think we saw it on Saturday.
And the nature of this conference is now, as we go into the second half of the season, perhaps the Bears that we thought early in the year, Youngstown, Northern Iowa, Indiana State, they may not be that. It might be the back half of the schedule with South Dakota State having a great year. Illinois State is still there, and then, of course, the game still to come with this week with South Dakota, and Southern Illinois still in the mix as well. Let's get into this game at USD this week. This is not a typical road game. The game is going to be played in Sioux Falls, something we talked about way back in April when it was announced at Howard Wood Field. The Bison have plenty of memories of this stadium going back to the Division II days.
I'm cold thinking about it. I don't think I've ever been there on a nice day.
And it's a night game this week, too.
Yeah, and getting back to Howard Wood, at least they have now, it's upgraded. They have new turf. And when the Bison used to play there in the 60s and 70s and 80s in those years, there was a grass field. And by the time, it seemed like every time they played down there, it was dirt because the high schools played there and just the weather getting worn down. So this will be a little upgrade, shall we say, of Howard Wood.
Not have that at all. It's an artificial surface down there. Capacity to thinking about 10,000, and we think there will be a majority of Bison fans there. Going back to the story that we talked about over the summer where USD had the ticket package. If you bought tickets to the Colgate game, you could get tickets to the USD game, and a ton of Bison fans did that.
Yeah, I wonder how those Colgate tickets went out. I think a lot of Bison fans were going to donate them as part of their goodwill gesture.
Cycled them back. Craig Bull mentioned today on the injury front after that Indiana State loss, 2 major injuries. One we knew about, Zach Vra, which we'll get to in a second. The other we didn't. On starting strong safety, Brian Shepard suffered a lacerated kidney, and he is out for a while. This is not a broken bone. This is something really serious.
As this being taped on Monday, he's still in the hospital, is what the head coach told us. But, it opens it up, and we hope, obviously, he gets better, and he will. But it opens up for A.J. Van Voorst. Yeah. Here's a guy who was recruited out of the cities. His mom's a Fargo North graduate. His dad played here for NDSU. A kid who's just battled it through the years. Now he's a junior, a 4th-year junior, and I think he's going to see perhaps his most meaningful repetitions of the season of his career.
This is a guy who was a special teams maven over the last couple of years, and now he gets thrown into a situation where he's going to play. And play a lot. We're interested to see how that will work on Saturday.
And he's a smart kid, too. He's a backup at both strong safety and free safety, and it really takes somebody who knows the game and knows it well.
Zach Vra has an AC shoulder separation. That's similar to what Brock Jensen had a couple years ago. His status is doubtful for Saturday. How does that affect the Bison offense?
Well, first of all, I think it's good news, and it wasn't his collarbone situation. And the second, he doesn't have to throw the ball. Yep. You have to, obviously you have to raise your arms up to catch the ball, but I think you'll see him get on the field faster and a little more effective than what Brock did.
That means Ryan Smith and Trevor Gebhardt are the starting wide receivers. Also elevates Nate Moody, who came in a critical situation last year, the kid out of Dickinson, and also Cooper Wallow, who has not seen the field a lot. He had a couple reverses on Saturday, but it's probably time for him to step up as well now with Vra being out.
I think that's the only play they've gone to him is a reverse. And look for Andrew Oakland, too. I think Andrew had a great nice catch. 31-yard catch on Saturday.
Set up the only touchdown for the Bison on Saturday. They'll be wearing their gold jerseys. USD will wear red. I don't know how you feel. As a traditionalist, I'm sure you're upset about this, that no one was wearing white come Saturday night.
Yeah, I've gotten over this uniform faux pas.
The latest FCS coaches poll also out about an hour before we tape this. Eastern Washington, as you successfully predicted, another prediction gone right for you, on Saturday is the new #1 team in the land. James Madison moves up to 2. Georgia Southern at 3. The Bison drop to 4 with Montana State at 5. I don't think you probably have any qualms with that, do you?
Well, in my vote on the media poll, I voted Cal Poly #1. Yeah. And where are they on?
They are 12th. Now, granted, they're undefeated and have an FBS win over Wyoming.
Nobody else has that. So how can you not put them at least in the top 10 or top 5?
I'm with you there. Indiana State cracks the top 25 at the 25th ranked team, and South Dakota State's not there. Now, granted, the Jacks are 5-1. They haven't beaten the Powers yet of the Valley, but still, they're 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, that's a total miscalculation on behalf of the voters. I don't get it. I give up. I just give up. I give up.
You mentioned the clunker of the game. This is the first time NDSU has lost since last November. They told us after, Craig Bohl didn't say it today, but he did say it a few weeks ago. He thought the loss to Youngstown last year was a blessing in disguise. How do you feel this team will respond on Saturday?
Well, I think these kids are human, and they're young, and they're 20, and they're 19. How can you not listen to everybody telling you how great you are? I think it's just a natural thing that after a loss, you're going to refocus, and if you're going to lose, and they could lose again, but if you're going to lose one, you want to lose it early. You lost to a good team. Now they have the rest of October. They still have teams ahead of them that that are going to be right there. They have Southern Illinois. Half the conference is still in the race with 1 loss or 0 losses.
Does that change your preseason pick? We had 3 teams, I think, from the Valley in the FCS playoffs. Do you still stand with that, or do you maybe increase it? I think there's a good chance that 4 could get in. I think the Bison are there, Illinois State is there, and I think the Jacks and Southern Illinois is not to be left out of the conversation.
Youngstown's not to be left out. Yeah. I don't know. That 4 is asking too much, Dom. This isn't the CAA.
That'd be a 5th of the FCS playoff field, of course, next year when they go to 24.
I'm sticking with 3.
All right, we'll see what happens. He is right on our prediction, so I'm not going to.
You sure you're not going to give up?
I'm not going to challenge you on that.
Give you a chance to get out of it. Save some face.
One other note here before we go: NDSU got a second verbal commitment for the men's basketball team out of Carlin Dupree, a 6'3" point guard out of Milwaukee Bayview High School, averaged 14 points a game. His head coach, Tyler Podol, told me he's recruited as a combo guard. He goes along with A.J. Jacobson to probably finish out the Bison recruiting class of 2013. Another big guard to go along with Lawrence Alexander for a couple years down the line.
It may pave the way for L.A. to do some number 2 guard.
It very well could. And as you look at this, as they get started with practice, the sky could be the limit for this men's basketball team this year, don't you think?
Well, that's pretty heady expectations.
I would say because the experience they have, and without Oral Roberts in the league, I think that there's a legitimate chance they could play for the Summit League championship.
Yeah, the talent's there, but I still think South Dakota State and Nate Wolters is going to get through the mix this year, as we talk before the season right now.
It's only October. We still have a month to go before the Indiana game with NDSU. But we still got a big game this weekend. NDSU taking on South Dakota. Jeff, Eric, and I will be there. I'm not sure Props will be involved.
Where's Big E? He couldn't handle the pressure.
Well, he was ready to pick Indiana State and didn't, and I picked him in the preseason, but, that's all preseason.
Once again, very disappointed and he didn't follow through.
Didn't follow through on that. We're back on Saturday for the pregame show from Sioux Falls, and the complete highlights and reaction coming up on Saturday. The latest edition of the Bison Video Blog.